It's time again for Oklahoma Sports Scene. Welcome inside this magnificent facility, the new Wee Street Ice Center, home of the Tulsa Ice Oilers. 2 sheets of NHL ice, along with all kinds of extra facilities, locker rooms, areas for free skate, for curling even. And of course, this is the Oilers' main practice facility as well. And a fantastic sports bar and grill, full-service menu coming up in the Pucks Sports Bar on the second level. Great arcade games for all the kids too. It's almost a 24-hour work here with all the activities going on. Come and check it out yourself. It's unbelievable. Wee Street Ice Center, the former Macy's department store, here at the old Promenade Mall in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we welcome you to our new home here. Hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln. Take a look at what's in store for us here on the show. Of course, everybody's talking basketball. We're talking one of the best. Ted Owens, Hall of Fame basketball coach at the University of Kansas, will be here on the show with us, talking about the basketball and some history, as well as his thoughts on the future of the game. Kelsi Musick is the new women's head basketball coach at Oral Roberts University. Well, her second season, which has already earned a new contract with some historic performances in her first season. We'll talk to Kelsi here. You'll enjoy that. Tulsa Oilers football season is kicked off. You'll meet their new starting quarterback here on the show. And the Bassmasters Classic, which was held this past week. And we have their champion on the show, Justin Hamner, will be here with us to talk about the $300,000 prize for catching the most fish for 3 days at Grand Lake. And of course, we'll talk the Remington Report with Dale Day. Had some big races this past weekend. The Rich Oklahoma Futurity, the Oklahoma Derby, and then a rich race for the Paints and the Appaloosas, and the Oklahoma Futurity for that one too. But first, we begin with our Tulsa World Hot Topics. Nothing hotter, of course, than March Madness in college basketball. Before we even got out of the second round, the some 2.1 million brackets people filled out for ESPN were all busted. Mine was too. But the 4 number 1 seeds are still alive in college basketball for the men's division, heading into the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 this week. That includes UConn, Houston, Purdue, and North Carolina. The Big 12 had 8 teams in the tournament. Only 2 are left now. That'd be Houston and Iowa State. The men's Final Four, Saturday, April 6th in Glendale, Arizona, inside the State Farm Stadium there. And the national championship game will be on Monday, April the 8th. The women's NCAA tournament on the road to Cleveland, Ohio now for the Final Four there on April 5th. Their national championship game will be on the 7th of April in the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. That's the home of the NBA Cleveland Cavaliers. Ladies' top seeds are South Carolina, still undefeated, Iowa, USC, and Texas. We also had 3 of our area women's teams in the tournament. Oklahoma, the Big 12 regular season champion, won its first round game in Bloomington, Indiana, 73-70 over Florida Gulf Coast. Then they're playing host Indiana as we tape our show on Monday night. The Hoosiers on their home court. If Oklahoma can win that game, they move on into the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2013. Tulsa got the number 3 seed in the host spot in the first women's basketball invitation tournament. They opened with an 80-62 rout of the University of Arkansas in the first Reynolds Center game in some time for postseason. After defeating Arkansas, they then beat Georgetown 73-61, scoring the final 12 points in that game. So TU are in the host role for the Thursday game this week. They'll be taking on Illinois in the WBIT game. University of Tulsa now 25-9. Another great season for Coach Angie Nelp. And Oral Roberts women's team made it to the postseason appearance since 2015. It's the WNIT tournament. They lost a heartbreaker, though, 93-91 in their first game at Mabee Center. That was back on March 22nd. And they finished with a 21-1 record. Head coach mentioned Kelsi Musick will be joining us here later on the show. Well, they just keep rolling. The University of Oklahoma incredible women's gymnastics team, ranked number 1, undefeated, unchallenged. They just swept again through the Big 12 Gymnastics Championships this past week, the Lloyd Noble Center in Norman. They won the championship for the 15th time, the 3rd in a row, breaking and smashing all-time scoring records, 198.950 point total. And for the first time in conference history, every event was won with a perfect 10 by the Oklahoma Sooners. That's completed what they call a Team Gym Slam. Junior Jordan Bowers led the way. She came the vault title in her first perfect 10 of the year in that event. She scored her second 10 on the uneven bars and finished up with a floor exercise with her 3rd straight perfect 10. Reagan Smith earned the beam title for the 2nd year in a row with a perfect score. Faith Perez then shared the title with Bowers, earning her first perfect mark as well. NCAA Wrestling Championships. Oklahoma State finished 10th in the national championships, held this past weekend in Kansas City, the T-Mobile Center. Penn State won their 11th title in the last 13 years. 3 Oklahoma State wrestlers made All-American national team. Sand Springs' Dayton Fix again lost his bid for a national title in a close, hard-fought match at 133 pounds, losing 5-3. But he did become the first 5-time All-American in the history of Oklahoma State's great wrestling program. Fellow senior Dustin Plott, who finished second to dropping the 184-pound championship match, his 3rd consecutive All-American honor. He finished 31-4 and is planning to come back next season. Tulsa Ice Holders still fighting for a playoff spot. Finally getting back off the road. They'll host a game here in the BOK Center on Friday, March 29th, this Friday. Wichita comes to town. And they just have, after that, just 2 more home games left in Tulsa. Oilers football schedule, our indoor professional football league team kicked off their 2nd season, losing in overtime 31-25 down in Frisco, Texas. They have a bye this week. Oilers' first home football game of 2024 will be the first Saturday in April. On the 6th, they'll host the Iowa Barnstormers, the BOK Center. When we come back, we'll meet the new starting quarterback for the Tulsa Oilers football team. But first, legendary Hall of Fame basketball coach at the University of Kansas, Ted Owens, can talk about, well, everything basketball, from his 2 trips to the Final Four to the game they said was the greatest college basketball game ever played here in the city of Tulsa. That was a matchup in 1974 with Oral Roberts University. Still a classic game. They went to overtime and decided who would go on to the Final Four of that season. We lived that with Coach Ted Owens. Get his thoughts on some of the new college basketball things like, well, NIL, the portal. I'm not sure Coach is too much of a fan of much of that, as many of us aren't either. But Ted Owens is coming up next. The Kansas Jayhawks legendary basketball coach. Straight ahead on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Tulsa Oilers hockey at the BOK Center. The ultimate experience of hockey and entertainment. Save big on season tickets today. Full season tickets starting as low as $17 per month for all 36 home games. Get your season tickets at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets available now at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers hockey.
As the sun rises over eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
It's time. Time to get back to the basics. Time to meet up with family and friends. Time to play ball. It's time to cheer on your Tulsa Drillers. It's Hornsby time. It's Tulsa time in the heart of the city. It's time to fire it up.
The 2024 Remington Park Spring Quarter Horse season continues at Remington Park. April action is headlined by the Extreme Racing Day on Sunday, April 21st, as the camels, zebras, ostriches, and more take to the track. And then the rich Remington Park Futurity Night of Racing on Saturday, April 27th. The normal Remington Park Racing Week is Thursday through Sunday, first race at 6 p.m. nightly, and Sundays at 4 p.m. The best racing, simulcast racing, and jackpot casino action is all at Remington Park.
Well, as we all know, it's March Madness time. Everybody's talking basketball. We're talking with one of the greatest of all time. Kansas Hall of Fame basketball coach Ted Owens is joining us here on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Coach is one of the main people at the Bracketology Breakfast ORU hosts every year just before the tournament gets underway at Southern Hills. Coach, you did a great job. I have to ask you, though, how's your bracket?
Oh, my bracket shot pretty early. Kentucky went right away.
Yes, that killed us.
I was stunned with that. And I didn't have high hopes for Kansas with the injuries, but I did have high hopes. But let's face it, Gonzaga's better than I thought they were.
Yeah.
They're a good team. They lost to a good team, but We're disappointed in the year, and what's interesting.
Those like Kansas have double-digit losses.
They win 22 or 23 games, and they've had a pretty good year.
Well, they talked about after the first round was over, ESPN released the fact that all of their $2.1 million brackets were busted. Yeah. Mostly because of the Kentucky upset. That was stunning.
Oh, the Kentucky thing killed everybody.
And that started the real thing, Coach, about, they're known at Kentucky for recruiting those great young players, the five-star McDonald's All-Americans, but they're so young, they get in these tournament games, and these other guys are 23, 24 years old, and shows.
Well, it happens every year that there's some teams that have veteran players. They come to the tournament, and that's where you get the upset.
John Calipari may have to rethink some of his recruiting possibilities now. Okay, Coach, so what have been some of your takeaways from the first two rounds? I guess one of the big stunners to me was the SEC just got decimated. They were like 1 of 5 in the first 6 games in the tournament.
Yeah, the Big 8 didn't.
That's right.
Or Big 12, I still call it the Big 8.
I understand.
They didn't do very well. Yeah. We lost six of our 8 teams.
Yeah, all we have left now is Iowa State and, of course, Houston. But Houston looks like the real deal. I know you really admire the way Kelvin Sampson plays defense. Wow, they're tough.
Yeah, they play terrific defense. I see coaches all the time keep their players in at the end when they're 20 up. Well, that's a good lesson to remember when you're up by 13 and a minute 50 to go, and with the 3-point shot, it's not a comfortable lead.
A&M made a heck of a run at Houston for sure, and went into overtime. And Coach, that was probably the best game I've seen so far in the tournament.
It was a terrific game.
All right, the Sooners were, of course, the first ones out. I know, very disappointing for the staff down there, but you look at the facts. So they had lost 6 of the last 8, 20-12 record. 8-10 in the Big 12, and I don't know what you think of Oklahoma being left out of the tournament.
Well, most of my coaching career, you had to win the conference to go to the tournament. So I'm not very sympathetic, when you finish 7th or 8th or so in the conference. Having said that, I'm very proud of the way Oklahoma played this year. That was a good turnaround for Coach Moser and that team.
I want to get your thoughts also on Oklahoma State and the situation there. It's, of course, they had to fire Mike Boynton, and heck of a guy and stuff. It just it comes down to wins, Coach, and Mike doesn't get enough of them, I guess, and now they're starting to look all over the country for a new coach.
Well, it's sad, but, Chris, it's strictly a business today. The old days of student athletes and all of that with the NIL and the transfer portal, it's a different game. I hated it because I hear really good things about Coach Boynton.
Yeah, great guy.
And had a good relationship with the students, and it's a sad part of the game.
And he talked about the frustration he had with players. He got some good recruits. Obviously, he had #1 recruit in the country when a few years ago and wanted to be the top draft choice. But he said nowadays the kids say, well, we like your program, Coach. We like Oklahoma State, love the history, tradition, but now what are you going to pay me? Because so-and-so offered me this, and it's all legal right now, Coach. But he said they don't have the NIL money to compete for that.
You can't be sure right now. For instance, Hunter Dickinson comes to KU. He has another year of eligibility. What does he do? Will he look for another place, or will he come back to Kansas? There's no long-standing loyalty.
Yeah.
I have to mention this. I've lost a lot of my players in recent years, and we were so close. And but we developed a relationship over 4 years, and they became a part of our family and so forth. I don't know that they're able to do that today with bouncing from one school to the other.
Well, Mike Boynton left Oklahoma State after 7 seasons and a buyout of just over $8 million. And I was reflecting back, Coach, what was your buyout at Kansas when you left Lawrence in 1983?
50,000.
Different times, huh? Coach, you've been coaching this game since the 60s, playing in this before that, of course, at OU. And how much has the game changed?
Well, as I mentioned to you, we go back for reunions, and I see my guys lined up behind, and I see doctors and lawyers and successful businessmen and family men and so forth. It's just a different feel, and obviously the money. I made $10,000 my first year as head coach at Kansas.
Wow!
And after 19 years as head coach, my best salary was $53,000. Coach Self makes more in a day than I made in a year.
You had a great line with Coach Self. You asked him because he's making like $9 million now.
Yeah.
Did you ask Coach Self?
I said to Coach Self, Coach, you're a great coach, but are you 500 times better than I was?
I don't think so. His resume with all the Big 8 championships and, of course, 2 Final Fours. We're going to get into that talk in just a few moments here. But, Coach, what does it take to win, though, 6 consecutive games to be an NCAA champion?
Oh, it's tough. It was harder when I coached to get in. You had to win the conference to get in, but we had to win 4 games to win it.
Yeah.
So it's more difficult. Even Colorado, who had to play in game, they would have had to win 7 games to win the championship.
We're going to come back and talk about a game that they've called the greatest basketball game ever played in the city of Tulsa. That involved Ted Owens and his Kansas Jayhawks. That's coming up next. Right back on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories at our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on-site to assure the perfect fit so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
It's time to cheer on your Tulsa Drillers. It's Hornsby time. It's Tulsa time in the heart of the city. It's time to fire it up.
Indoor football is back, Tulsa, and season tickets are going quick. Don't miss Saturday night entertainment starting as low as $9 a month. The Tulsa Oilers indoor football team kicks off again in March, Saturday nights, 7 p.m. BOK Center. Season tickets are on sale now. Go to TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Get your season tickets now. Don't miss your chance to experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of professional indoor football. TulsaOilersFootball.com.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
Welcome back inside the Wee Street Ice Center here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma Sports Scene. And visiting with one of the legends of college basketball, great friend, Hall of Fame basketball coach at the University of Kansas, Ted Owens. And Coach, picked up the Tulsa World the other day. Our good friend Bill Haston had a feature story with you and your old friend Ken Trickey standing outside the Mabee Center. And he had a story that talked about the greatest college basketball game ever played here in the city of Tulsa. And it was a classic game. Talk about that. 1974, March 16th. It was the game that decided who went to the Final Four, right?
The winner of that game would go to the Final Four. And NBC was here to telecast it. It was a big event. And Oral Roberts and Mabee Center was one of the great new arenas in the country. And so that's why they were able to get it. But just a few years before that, Ken Trickey and brought his staff to KU, and he said, Coach, we're going to go into Division I and we want to talk to you about some of the things that we need to do. So they spent a few days with me and my staff. Little did I think, just a few years later, we'd be playing them for a chance to go to the Final Four. But they had a very talented team. When Anthony Roberts is your sixth man, that tells you how good they were.
And just to build up to that game, Coach, the fact you two had to win semifinal games, you had to beat Eddie Sutton, right?
We played, Eddie Sutton had a great team at Creighton.
Right.
And
that was what, 55-54, right?
We beat them 55-54. I told him we crushed him. We had a lot of laughs about that over the years. But
then Ken Trickey got past
they beat Louisville
96-93.
And so, as you very well know the story, that that night I pick up the papers and Ken has suspended himself. He was the athletic director because he had been picked up for alleged DUI.
Right.
And which they later dropped, I think.
Yeah, they did.
Charge it. But so I go over to interview before we play them in the game, and there's Ken standing there. And I said, Ken, I'm sorry that you won't be coaching. You've worked hard to get your team to this point. He said, no, I'm coaching. He said, I've met with Mr. Roberts. I met with the president about 2 o'clock in the morning, I think.
Wow.
And Ken asked him, he said, God's a God of a second chance. And Oral agreed with him, President Roberts did. And so Ken coached in the game, and it was a wonderful game.
Well, you jumped up, you got a 15-point lead on them, right?
We were up 15 up, but I knew they were too good not to make a run. And so they came back in the second half, and they go 9 up with 3 minutes to go. We looked down in front of us on the floor, and it said, expect a miracle.
I remember that, yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. And we hit our last several shots and going to overtime and won the game by 3 in overtime.
93-90, the high-scoring thriller. Still it's called the best college basketball game ever played here in the city of Tulsa. And that was also marked an incredible turnaround, one of the all-time big turnarounds in college basketball from the team you had the season before, then going to the Final Four. You were, 8-18, I think, the year before.
Yeah, we were 8-18, the worst record we ever had. I lost my 3 front-line players by fluke. One had a punctured lung. One had an academic problem. The other had a personal problem. So I lost my front line, and it took us a couple of years to rebuild. But we bounced back, and our team went like 13-1, and we only lost 1 game in the conference that year. And so and I didn't have any stars, but I had 7 really good players who were juniors and seniors, and they did a remarkable job.
Talk about that Final Four. That was your second trip. You went to in 1971. You took the Jayhawks to the Final Four as well, right?
You bet. And that team went undefeated in the conference. Only the second team in the conference to do that. And but when we got to the Final Four, it was a great field. UCLA had maybe the best team they ever had. North Carolina State had a terrific team. Thompson, Burleson, and Marquette was loaded. So we lost to Marquette, and UCLA was upset by North Carolina State, who went on to win the championship.
That 74 Final Four, what was that like?
71?
71.
71 was a great tournament. Western Kentucky and Villanova were in the first game, and then we played UCLA in the second game. And boy, we were fired up and ready. but the game goes into 1 overtime and then 2 overtimes, and we sit there for 30 minutes waiting to take the court. And it was a long wait, but we fought back. It was a terrific game, and UCLA defeated us. So,
what do you think about all this talk, Coach, now that wanted to expand the tournament field? I've heard numbers like 72, 76, or let's go to 96 teams to come in the tournament.
No, I'd be very much opposed to it. People say, well, that'll give more guys a chance to get in the tournament. From a coaching standpoint, it'll give more coaches a chance to make the tournament and so forth, and but the problem with that is if you don't make it, then I think it would be watered down. I think we have a nice balance to it. We have a chance for teams like Oakland and teams to have an upset. But I think it would water the field down.
The generations of Owens keep going, and your son Teddy had a heck of a season again with Holland Hall. He's done a great job over there at the school.
He's made it to the state tournament with his team 6 straight times.
Wow.
Pretty good. Pretty good. The thing you want to achieve in sports is consistency.
Right.
And they've been consistent every year. Like Coach Self's been so consistent at Kansas.
None's done it better than Ted Owens of the Kansas Jayhawks. Just kills me to think of my old Missouri Tiger days. We had some great times together back there, Coach.
Yeah, we did.
Great to have you, my friend.
Hey, great to be with you.
Sorry about our brackets, but we knew that was done early. We're going right back and get to meet the Oral Roberts University women's head basketball coach. What a job she has done to turn around at that program. She's next, right after we take a break here.
Around the clock, throughout eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
In just her second season, Oral Roberts University's women's basketball coach Kelsi Musick has made quite an impression. In fact, so much so, she received a new multi-year contract. Following the school's first 20-plus win season since 2012, their first postseason bid since 2015. Lady Golden Eagles head coach joins us now to talk about her success this season. First of all, Coach, congratulations on the new contract. Well-deserved, well-earned.
I mean, it just shows that the ORU does believe in me and my staff and my program and the direction in which we're going. But we're just really excited about the season we had, especially in our second year here at ORU. But we're excited about where the program is going and the foundation we were able to lay. But just the tradition we're trying to instill, the culture we're trying to instill, and what we're trying to build here.
And the first 20-win season is 2011-2012 at Oral Roberts University, and the best since 1982. And I know you're very proud of your young ladies.
Absolutely. Especially, we had 10 new players this year, which is a lot on the roster whenever there's a lot of turnover after your first season. So to have 10 new players to come out and gel and be able to buy in and do what they were able to do, I'm extremely proud of them. And just the way that they were receptive to coaching, they like I said, they bought into our culture, our program, and what we're trying to build. And obviously our season was extremely successful because of that.
You gotta be awfully excited about the facilities, the updates, everything going on at Oral Roberts University. They just keep building and adding and going up and up.
Absolutely. I think it's just really impressive when there's always new buildings being built. But to have our new Mike Carter athletic facility, our practice gym, the coaches' new offices, to be able to have those facilities is great for recruiting. It's great for our team, and it's just been great for this second season that we've been able to have.
But as we all know, Kelsi, it's all about players. You've done a heck of a job in recruiting early on here. I'm very impressed with the fact you had this year's Summer League Freshman of the Year and Emily Robinson, the newcomer of the year, and Talia Jones, and the Sixth Woman of the Year, Jella Oglesbury. It's quite a class.
Absolutely. We were able to get some quality freshmen in here, and then we were also able to get a couple of kids out of the transfer portal. To get Talia Jones to come back home. She's from Broken Arrow. I think that was a huge get for us. She's been our leading scorer, and she does so much on both ends of the basketball. Emily Robinson, small town kid from Oklahoma that's really come in and put her stamp on ORU women's basketball and just made an impact in the Summit League. And Jaylee Oglesby, she's from Howe, Oklahoma. She's one of the top scorers in the state of Oklahoma, still in the record books. And just to be able to have her and her mid-range game and what she's been able to bring for us, those are just 3 of the 10 quality recruits we were able to have this year.
And some big wins along the way in this 23-24 season. You, for the first time, beat your cross rivals Tulsa in the Mayor's Cup game. Then also swept South Dakota State for the first time ever. So a good start for you.
Absolutely. To be able to win the Mayor's Cup, especially when it was early on in the season and we were down most of that game. I felt like the swing came at about the 4:37 mark when we called a timeout in that game. And just to be able to get that win, Tulsa is a very quality team. They won the American League. They're still playing in the WBIT. I mean, that was a huge win for our program as we're building this. And to be able to sweep South Dakota was huge. I don't know that that's ever been done for ORU women's basketball. So just to be able to start doing things that haven't been done, to just reigniting the excitement of ORU women's basketball, getting fans in the stands and just, being able to win some of those close quality big games has been huge for us this season.
Well, an exciting basketball brand you play, very high octane, a lot of offense. In fact, you're the 8th highest scoring team in the nation, 81.8 points per game. That's always an exciting game for people to watch.
Absolutely. And that's what I said when I got, when I was being interviewed and whenever I had my press conference, I did talk about our offense. We are going to run and gun. We have a high octane offense in the dribble drive. We tweaked it a little bit this year because we didn't shoot it as well from the 3-point line as we needed to, but that's something that we'll definitely work on in this off season. But just to be able to score at a high rate, that's fun for fans to watch. It's an exciting brand of women's basketball right here in Tulsa. So to be able to, to see where we started with our fans and to see where we ended, I just expect it to continue to grow and continue to put fans in the stands. And it's a fun brand to watch. And I hope people will continue to come out and support our women's basketball team.
Well, you led your Golden Eagles to 2 consecutive Summer League semifinal games. And, of course, now in the postseason this year into the Women's Basketball Invitational Tournament. And a close game, just lost to Grambling 93-91 to end the season.
Really close game. Honestly, if you look back at it, there's a lot of things that you could talk about. But I think the biggest thing is we missed some free throws. And you can't miss free throws in big games like that. A 2-point basketball game would easily be changed with a couple of more free throws had we made those. But an exciting game when you're scoring 93 and 91 points for fans to watch. I thought it was an exciting game. No matter what, it doesn't matter when it is, you never want your season to end. So that's always the hard part and the sad part because there's always an ending. But at the end of the day, what this team was able to accomplish and the fact that we did make the WNIT for the first time in so long and just being able to have that postseason experience is a huge building force for us in the future.
Best season for Golden Eagles women's basketball in 12 years. The good news is only one player, right, is really not eligible to return, Hannah Cooper. The rest of the girls all coming back.
Absolutely, which is exciting. You return 4 starters. We have a quality bench, and then we've also, signed some high quality high school players that will be coming in next year. We've recruited and signed some taller players, which is going to be huge. We need that size in the paint to help Ruthie, but it's exciting to see where we're at and where we're going, and the potential that we have is really an exciting time for ORU women's basketball.
and glad you're being led by Kelsi Musick, the second-year head coach of the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles women's team. And Kelsi, number one job, though, I see you're a mom, and it looks like you're doing your duty transporting your young son. Doesn't look too excited back there behind you.
He doesn't have school today, so he gets to be with me today. So I don't know if he's excited or not. Yeah, but being a mom is part of it too. So you'll see my kids running around at our women's basketball games, but getting them to all of their activities and school and whatnot is always a challenge as well. But I couldn't ask for a better job. I get to be a mom and I get to be a basketball coach. So those two pretty good gigs for me.
Kelsi, glad you're with us here, and thanks for joining us on Oklahoma Sports Scene. I don't have much of an off season, but enjoy that when you can. Enjoy the rest of the tournament.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You'll meet the Tulsa Oilers' new quarterback next.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
The best of back then is always right here. Live your greatest hits at Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tulsa.
Tulsa Oilers hockey at the BOK Center. The ultimate experience of hockey and entertainment. Save big on season tickets today. Full season tickets starting as low as $17 per month for all 36 home games. Get your season tickets at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets available now at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers hockey.
We're back on Oklahoma Sports Scene and back with a starting quarterback of the Tulsa Oilers Indoor Professional Football League team, Daniel Smith, who had a heck of a football game in the opener down in Frisco, Texas last week. Oilers lost a heartbreaker in overtime, 31-25. Daniel, your impressions of that first game and your team here at the Tulsa Oilers?
Yeah, you know, I was really proud of my team and my guys, the way we started the football game. But, you know, as we all know, there's 4 quarters of football, or, you know, in our case, sometimes in overtime. But, you know, really excited about the group of men that we have and the potential of our team. Very grateful for this bye week, so that way we can, you know, come in and clean up, you know, our execution and, you know, just clean up a few things that we need to. You know, that probably would have helped us finish on the other end, if you will.
You other fans, when they get the home opener coming a week from Saturday, get to see Daniel Smith there, the starting quarterback, number 8, 6'2", 205 pounds. Looks as part of a quarterback. Give us some of your background. I know you played for this team going against the Iowa Barnstormers last year.
Yes, sir. Coach Mogs blessed me with the opportunity last season, coming in on the last 5 games of the year for Iowa. And it was a great experience and opportunity. Iowa's a beautiful place with a great fan base and things. But definitely excited to be here in Tulsa, and it should be a good one for us coming up.
I think you enjoy the BLK Center. It's quite a facility for football.
Oh, man. My first game was in the BLK Center last year, and the atmosphere there was amazing. It was nothing like that I've played in. So I'm really excited to, like I've been saying, make plays for the good guys this time around, and you know, by the grace of God, get that BOK Center rocking.
Take you back to Frisco now in the opening game. They scored first. We came back then, scored a couple of quick touchdowns, and at halftime we had control of the game, it looked like.
Yeah, we sure did. I think we did a great job of how we came out with our energy, intensity, and focus. And I think those things led to us being up early on in that game.
Your first touchdown pass as an Oiler to Josh Crockett. A pass went 16 yards. Talk about that play that got him on the board there.
Man, Josh, he's an amazing athlete and a veteran in this league as well. And so, you know, anytime that I have an opportunity to throw him the ball is definitely a pleasure. And, you know, I know he's someone who's going to do everything he can to come down with that football. And you know, that first one, he sure showed it with that amazing one-handed grab. So you know, that's one of those things where, you know, he made us all look good on that one. So yeah, definitely grateful for Josh.
Second half, Tulsa held Frisco defensively, did a good job holding to a field goal, and you threw your second touchdown pass, 10 yards to Alex Rosario.
Yes, yeah. Lex, as we call him, you know, he does a great job of winning his one-on-one battles, and Coach does a great job of drawing it up and putting us in great position. So that was just really great execution, and he was able to come away with a quick score on that one.
We ended up with a 25-10 lead heading to the fourth quarter, and they caught up to us and had to go to overtime. And tough way to end the game, though, for us.
Yeah, ended in a bit of disbelief. You know, really couldn't believe what happened. But it's one of those things that losses are only losses if you don't learn from your mistakes. And praise God that it's a long season, and you know, that we have time to learn from the errors that we made. You know, it's one of those things that, especially playing a great team like Frisco, you have to play mistake-free. Even in those extra innings, if you will, those extra quarters. So I know one thing for sure: we'll be a better team, a better offense as a whole moving forward. But you know, one thing's for sure, that our defense played an amazing game. I mean, going into the fourth quarter, 25-10. Yeah, they, you know, just really shout out to our defense and those guys on that side of the ball. Couldn't have asked for them to put us in as good of a position as they did. Us as an offense, you know, we just got to step up and finish, if you will, and we will.
I like the way they call it the Red River Rumble. You have a trophy with it now. I guess they got the boot trophy for the first time around, at least, huh?
Yeah, that was really cool. You know, obviously you have the Red River rivalry with Oklahoma and Texas in college sports. So for them to do that for us, that was really cool. You know, to put a trophy on there and stuff. And of course, we wish we were holding that trophy up at the end of the game, but hats off to Frisco. They earned it, and that was a great comeback by them.
Have a bye this week. I know you think about momentum and stuff, but it's probably a good thing to get that bye after the first game, right?
Yeah, you know, when first heard that we had a bye, I was like, you know, I kind of just, you know, want to keep that roll going, if you will. But, you know, given how things played out, we definitely could use the bye, you know, to freshen up things and get guys healthy and off from being banged up and whatnot, and ready to go for our next opponent.
I imagine Coach Jones and the players probably asking you for a scouting report on your old team, the Iowa Barnstormers. What do you think we look for them?
Yeah, you know, Iowa's a great team. You know, they got their guy back, DJP at quarterback, so I know they're excited. And, you know, especially coming off a tough loss in Green Bay, where at any point in that game it could have went either way. You know, I know they're going to come in ready. You know, you know, they have a great defense with some veteran DBs and a veteran linebacker. And we for sure have our work cut out for us. And, you know, we need to hit this bye week hard in preparation and get ready for Iowa.
Next Saturday, April the 6th, 7:05 BOK Center, and the first 1,000 fans get a special treat here. Luke Hamilton, of course, the play-by-play man of the Oilers. I'm going to show this off for you here. Grab hold of this.
Right on.
Daniel, look at this.
Yes, sir.
3 foot by 5 foot flag for your home to support your Tulsa Oilers. And right, look, the first 1,000 fans.
That's awesome.
Get this at the stadium, so go support the Tulsa Oilers. Again, next Saturday, the home opener, taking on the Iowa Barnstormers. But one thing Iowa will not have is their quarterback. We have Daniel Smith, the outstanding quarterback from Iowa, now is a Tulsa Oiler. Daniel, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Good to have you in Tulsa.
Thank you. God bless.
Come right back with big bass tournament being held just this past week. The winner got $300,000 for catching fish. Right back.
It's time to cheer on your Tulsa Drillers. It's Hornsby time. It's Tulsa time in the heart of the city. It's time to fire it up.
As the sun rises over eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
Well, it's called the Super Bowl of Bass Fishing, the 54th Bassmasters Classic, held this past week on Grand Lake of the Cherokees here in northeast Oklahoma, a 3-day event filled with 56 anglers. It was the most diverse they've ever had for the Bassmasters competition, ranging from the veteran champions to the youngest finalist ever, an 18-year-old kid from Florida named Aaron Yavorsky. By the way, he didn't do a bad job. He landed the biggest bass of them all, 6 pounds and 12 ounces, and a $2,500 check. We also had 2 Oklahoma anglers that finished high in the standings in the top 25, including Luke Palmer from Colgate, who calls Eufaula and Texoma his home lakes. Also, Jason Christie of Welling, Oklahoma, his home lake being Lake Tenkiller. We've got their 2024 champion, Justin Hamner, by a Zoom call just before he left to go back home to Alabama. Talked about his dominant wire-to-wire win in the richest bass tournament of them all. Here he is.
It really did. It sets up similar to the way, I was born and raised fishing in Alabama. It's really a diverse lake, has a ton of fish in it, and I was right at home.
3-day total of 58 pounds, 3 ounces, including a wire-to-wire victory. That's really something that hasn't been done very often in Bassmaster. That's quite uncommon, isn't it? Finish wire-to-wire?
Yes, sir. It's really hard, especially this time of year. The fishing changes so much day to day. So to be able to do it, all 3 days was pretty special.
Let's talk about those 3 days. It started with the first stringer, 22 pounds, 6 ounces. What did you find on the first day at Grand Lake?
Oh, man. So I did not have a good practice coming into it. And I had one little area that I thought I could catch a few fish. So I went to that area and I really just slowed down, kind of picked it apart, and it really came together. So, using like a deep dive and jerk bait was my primary deal. Fishing in creeks, deeper creeks with like lay downs and brush piles, things like that. So,
day 2, they said you got a couple of pretty good size 5-pound basses that helped you get to that 20-pound limit.
Yes, sir. Those are definitely key. Grand Lake is full of them. Anybody that hasn't been to that lake, you can have an absolute blast catching a lot of fish. But the 5-pounders, that's really special. That's pretty big fish, so especially in our tournament.
Well, you had a 15-pound, 13-ounce finishing kick, which held off the Wisconsin angler that said Adam Rasmussen was on your trail, but you finished up 3 pounds ahead of him, 58.3 that total. What a total, and what a final day of fishing for you.
Thank you so much. It was definitely stressful out there. We had a lot of that Oklahoma wind that I'm sure y'all are familiar with. So that kind of threw things, out of whack a little bit for me, but luckily we were able to change things up and catch some fish.
All right, Justin, every angler wants to know, what's your secret? What was your equipment? What are some of your techniques you can share with us?
Well, honestly, it was just staying open-minded was the biggest thing, but trusting, everything, all of my boat and all of my, Garmin electronics. I'm here at the Bass Tank in Tulsa. They do all the rigging for my boat, so don't have to worry about that. Everything is done right. And really, I was just using, my Garmin electronics with deep diving jerk bait, and it definitely paid off.
Said you used a fuel hard bait stick. Talk about that. So it really worked for you.
Yes, sir. So that's it's the bait fuel. It's actually a new attractant. Normal attractants are just like gel or liquid type that only go on plastic baits. But this is like the first time we actually have a attractant for hard bait. So it's kind of like a chapstick applicator that goes on the hard baits and stays on there. So really gives those fish something to, taste, smell, that kind of thing. So it's pretty awesome.
You describe your cadence fishing as kind of weird. Explain that.
So, I'm able to utilize my like forward facing sonar to see the fish act react to my bait in real time. So that's what I kind of change it up. Each day was different. Some days, I'd have to work it really fast. Some days really slow. But yeah, I'm always, kind of tinkering with that nearly every cast just to see how the fish will react and want to eat it.
Well, congratulations on the huge trophy right there for you. And that means a lot. The Ray Scott Trophy is really the top prize in all this sport.
Yes, sir, it is. I still can't believe I got it, but I'm loving every minute of it.
33 years old, and again, not a bad paycheck either. $300,000. That's the biggest payoff in bass fishing, right?
Yes, sir, it is. And we're finally getting out of the double wide.
And your wife's already out shopping, right?
You got that right. Half of it might already be gone.
So what do you think of Tulsa, Oklahoma, of Grand Lake, and your time here in Oklahoma?
I absolutely loved it. Everyone here has been so hospitable, such a good time, so welcoming. And Grand Lake is just a phenomenal body of water, no matter what type of fishing you want to do. I caught so many different species and just a lot of fish. It was very, very fun.
Well, there he is, the champion of bass fishing for 2024, the Super Bowl of bass fishing. Justin Hamner, congratulations again, $300,000 prize, the great Ray Scott Trophy right there. And again, thank you for taking the time to be with us on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
All right, we'll be right back to talk about Oklahoma Futurity horse racing coming up in Remington Park after the break.
The 2024 Remington Park Spring Quarter Horse season continues at Remington Park. April action is headlined by the Extreme Racing Day on Sunday, April 21st, as the camels, zebras, ostriches, and more take to the track. And then the rich Remington Park Futurity Night of Racing on Saturday, April 27th. The normal Remington Park Racing Week is Thursday through Sunday, first race at 6 p.m. nightly, and Sundays at 4 p.m. The best racing, simulcast racing, and jackpot casino action is all at Remington Park.
You've seen the billboards, you've heard the hype, and now it's time for the Wee Street Ice Center to open its doors and welcome you in. 140,000 square feet, 2 ice rinks, public skating, hockey, arcade, game simulators, and the largest sports bar and grill is sliding into Tulsa. It's the grand opening of the new Wee Street Ice Center, 43rd and Yale. Make your plans, get your skate on, or watch some sports today. The Wee Street Ice Center, now open and ready to serve you. Wee Street Ice Center, 43rd and Yale.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories in our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on-site to assure the perfect fit so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing, an Oklahoma tradition. Well, the rich $500,000 plus historic Oklahoma Futurity Quarter Horse Race was run this past week in Remington Park in Oklahoma City, along with 2 other big events, the Oklahoma Derby and a very rich Futurity for the Payne and Appaloosa horses. Dale Day has all the race calls for us from Remington Park.
Oklahoma Futurity Night 2024 is in the books. It's the first big $1 million plus night of racing this season at Remington Park. Top racing throughout the card. Here's a look at the highlights. The Oklahoma Futurity was the headline event on the big night. There were 3 scratches out of the Futurity, making it a field of 7 to go 300 yards.
They're off in the Oklahoma Futurity. Slow beginning. AJK Viejo tight, well back. Out quickly. It is Juicebox going for the front. The gray is on top right now. Moving well at the rail. Finn McCool is right there. Farther out. Here's a run from Express Lane. It's Juicebox in the final 50. Juicebox by a length and a half.
Juicebox was the top qualifier on the first night of trials for the Oklahoma Futurity in a sloppy night, and then relived it to come back strong to win the main final for the Oklahoma Futurity. Nestor Duran, the winning jockey, Javier Musquiz of San Antonio, the winning owner, Juan Diaz, the winning trainer. Juicebox stays undefeated. And for the Connections, this is their first victory in the Oklahoma Futurity. Juicebox, a Texas bred, paid $7 for the win. Second was Express Lane. Number 8, third, the 1, Finn McCool, battled for the show spot. And then fourth, number 9, Cowboy Blue Z. Juicebox wins the Grade 2, $502,000 Oklahoma Futurity. After the Futurity, up next was the 12th race of the evening, the finale, the Grade 3, $217,000 plus Oklahoma Derby.
They're off in the Oklahoma Derby. Good start for a reason to remember toward the inside. Outside, getting a good run as Eyes Afraid Train B, now Fire Eating Cowboy, I should say, kicks it in. Fire Eating Cowboy coming on, along with B Second Cowboy, way outside. Eyes Afraid Train B is still there. Here it comes, B Second Cowboy, tight on the line.
A great battle to the finish. It was a photo finish. Nose bobs on the line. Number 9, Eyes Afraid Train B, had the edge at the exact right time of 350 yards over stablemate number 8, B Second Cowboy. It was a good photo, and Eyes Afraid Train B comes through the winner for owners Party Time Racing of Denham Springs, Louisiana, trained by Mauricio Lopez, winning jockey James Flores. For Flores, it was his 3rd career victory in the Oklahoma Derby. It was the first win in the Oklahoma Derby for all the connections. They also had B Second Cowboy in their stable. So for Party Time Racing, they had the Oklahoma Derby Exacta, 9 over the 8, Mauricio Lopez training both. And after the winner's picture was taken, B Second Cowboy came into the winner's circle as well. Eyes Afraid Train B, number 9, paid $10.20 for the win. Number 8, B Second Cowboy was second. Third, Fire Eating Cowboy, the top qualifier. Number 2, ran third in the Oklahoma Derby. The Paints and Appaloosas had their moment as well on the big night in the Grade 1 $202,000 Oklahoma Paint Appaloosa Futurity. A big field of 10 roared to the finish.
They're off on the Oklahoma Paint Appaloosa Futurity. Good start. Chief Iron Eagle comes out on top there by a good half length from the outside. Toll Road gaining ground to the inside. WFA Political Bullet. Now Wired Transfer gets into it, and Wired Transfer goes right to the front. Wired Transfer is on top to win.
Wired Transfer won her trial for the Oklahoma Paint App Futurity and then wins the final. For owner Robin Haggard of Gans, Oklahoma, Matt Whitekiller, the trainer. Salvador Martinez was the winning jockey. For trainer Matt Whitekiller, it was his 5th career victory in the Oklahoma Paint Appaloosa Futurity and his first since winning in 2021 with Smithworks. Wired Transfer paid $18.60 for the win. Second was number 6, the lone Appaloosa in the race, Chief Iron Eagle, who paid a whopping $22.60 to place and $11.40 to show. Third, the 7, OSC is on fire. Toll Road, number 10, was 4th. Wired Transfer stays undefeated, winning the Oklahoma Paint Appaloosa Futurity. Updating you on the schedule this week at Remington Park, live racing Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. First race nightly, 6 p.m. Remember, no racing on Easter Sunday. At Remington Park in Oklahoma City, I'm Dale Day. Now back to Sports Scene.
Next week on Oklahoma Sports Scene, we'll of course be talking more college basketball as they go through the Sweet 16, then the Elite 8 this weekend, heading to the Final Four. Also be talking to John Holcomb, longtime sports director at KOTV News on 6. And of course also the analyst for the Oklahoma State University Cowboys in football and basketball. Get some inside information on the Cowboys. Search for a new head coach maybe from John Holcomb next week. And a real sign of spring, the Masters Golf Tour, the 88th Masters, coming in a couple weeks here in April. Getting underway, and we have a great guest for you, Kerry Cosby. He is the director of golf and PGA professional at Southern Hills Country Club. To have his insight on the Masters, the event itself, and who he thinks some of the top players will be to wear that green jacket when it's all said and done. And Tulsa Drillers manager Scott Hennessy, trying to catch up with him once again out at Arizona as the Drillers get ready to break camp, heading back here to start their season. Los Angeles Dodgers, of course, already have their season underway. And a weekly reminder, as we always tell you, always be a good sport.